this image shows a black background with white writing in bold letters and capital letters, and it reads Part 1 Introduction, which encapsulates like the first half or maybe a bit more of the video. And it also reads Reflections of EDI from Lookfest. And yeah, so this is the first part, and the next part is the Q&A. Hi everyone, my name is Nazan and I am here today to talk about inclusion and what true inclusion looks like. Now, I went to a festival recently. I attended as a volunteer, as a mentor for the charity Look, who I mentor for, and they help blind and VI young like people and their families. And this festival was all about that. It was all about welcoming in people with differences. And although there was a focus on blindness, there were lots of other conditions, people with other conditions that attended. And I thought it was a really beautiful thing to create, and there should be more spaces like that. The society that we live in sometimes makes it so hard to live with a health condition. And I speak from a place of blindness as well. I am registered severely sight impaired. I have a condition called rod cone dystrophy. But yeah, it was just such a beautiful weekend, and I couldn't not record and vlog it and talk about it. And I attended with my partner, who may be coming on a little bit later on here and asking me a few questions, and I'll ask him a few questions. And I think that will be quite interesting because he's fully sighted and I am the blind one. I am the chosen one. So I originally trained as a yoga teacher to be able to share the things that have helped me with other people that have been placed in that limited category of disability. And I talk about what I mean there in another blog post. I'll link that below as well. But disability, it's almost like whoever's chosen this word has disabled that person and all of their ability, even though I saw, especially at that festival, that there were so many bright and intelligent children and teenagers. They have so much to give to the world, and if only the world would accept them for who they are, so they could embrace their gifts and their abilities and not be so disabled by what society thinks of these people with health conditions, with disabilities. I've put in quotations here. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I know some people like being called disabled, but personally, I don't like the words VI, visually impaired, or disability. And that's something that I learned over the weekend there as well. Some people like being referred to as by different labels, and I wasn't so aware of that. So I prefer being called blind or VIP, even though I don't like the what it unfolds as. So visually impaired person, I like the term VIP because that makes me feel special. And they actually use that term in passenger assistance on airports and at train stations. And yeah, this festival that I taught at, that I volunteered at with my partner, it was just so beautiful. It was the living, breathing embodiment of inclusion, of equality, and of diversity. And you will see that and hear that and feel that in the videos that I share. Quick side note here, if you're wondering where the Lookfest vlog is that I'm talking about or referring to in this video, I decided to separate this introduction and Q&A from the vlog, and I have placed the compilation of videos in another video, which I will have linked in the description and the comments below. Let me know if you have any trouble finding it. So really, accessibility and inclusion weren't afterthoughts at this festival, at this event, and they were really thought about before and placed, implemented into the structure, into the foundations of the space. Will, my partner, and I were asked to place these little devices that emitted this sound of, I think one of them was a bird sound, one of them was an ocean sound, one of them was a wind sound, one of them was a cricket sound. So in each place, so the activity field and then the camping area and the barn where people ate. Like in each different place, we placed a different sound so that the people trying to navigate could know where they were in that space, and it didn't feel like they were too far spread out, and yeah, I felt like everyone felt quite comfortable there as well, which when I attend like a I'm gonna put quotations with my fingers, normal festival. I don't think I've ever felt so comfortable like I did at Lookfest, because I felt everyone was naturally understanding of my condition. No one was going to ask why I had a cane sometimes and why I didn't. And no one asked or judged or questioned or criticized. And I knew that no one would, because I was in that space full of people like me. So, and we all had an understanding that blindness, like any other condition, is on a spectrum. And that is really, really probably one of the most important things to understand about health conditions, that they are all on a spectrum. So, along with the sensory cues at each gate, there was tactile bunting and there was Braille timetables, schedules, and Braille children's books as well. There was also large print timetables, which I was very grateful for because I do have enough sight to be able to read. And these were really, really, really great for me being able to read the timetable, because I personally can't actually read Braille, but I can read really large print. So yeah, I feel like the space that they'd chosen alone was perfect, because everything was in close proximity to each other with enough space to have space if you needed to. And like for example, so I'm talking from my experience, but when you have a sensory deterioration of some sort, things can get quite overwhelming with your other senses, and then being out and about and surrounded by lots of people can get overwhelming as well. So having quiet corners to go to is really important, and I felt like Lookfest really thought about that and made sure, even for the volunteers and just everyone, had been thought about in this process of planning. Like I really felt that. I felt really seen, and I'm sure other people did too. I'm sure my partner did as well, as a sighted person stepping into a space held for blind people in other conditions. Like we really thought it was such a purposeful thing to do, so that we could give to people in a way that um, is meaningful for us as well as them. And so often this word is thrown around of inclusion and accessibility. I see it a lot. I've experienced it a lot, and it like these businesses, these events don't live up to those huge words that are so important. And it's quite sad that that is the case, but not everywhere is accessible or inclusive or equal. And I felt so unjudged at this place and this festival, and I believe that other people who attended, who helped, who volunteered, also felt that too. And it was really lovely to see so many sighted volunteers there as well, to help run the festival, as well as all the blind on a spectrum peoples there as well. I just felt like I was at home with all these people that I didn't necessarily know too many of them before, but within a couple of days, I just felt like one big family with everyone, and that was a really special thing because I don't experience that a lot when I go to events or festivals, and at this space I did, and it was just so beautiful. So inclusion isn't a brand. It's not a throwaway term that we should be including on our descriptions when we're curating events or our businesses when we um, fulfill them in some way. It's a practice that really needs attention and inquiry and feedback. When we step into these places, we should ask whose voices were considered when creating this space, and what was the feedback, and who gets to give feedback, and who takes that on, who's accountable for if things aren't accessible. And when I talk about accessibility, I feel maybe sometimes people think it's maybe a bit too much to consider, but as I've realized recently, these accessibility features that are implemented for certain conditions can also help a wider range of people. So ramps as well, not just for wheelchairs. It's for me when I don't like using stairs because of my sight and my poor depth perception, and it's also for people that are elderly and maybe children. It could be for anyone, for skateboards. So when we ask for adaptations, it shouldn't be received as something burdensome. It should be received as something that's a creative solution for not just one person with one certain condition, but many people, a vast variety and spectrum of people. So EDI is a practice and it develops over time. No one is going to get it perfect the first time, and there's always ways we can develop and evolve. So it's not the end if we haven't got it right just yet. But yeah, it's a practice, and it's so important and crucial so that we do live in a fair and equal world. And I think these conversations are really, really important because even the terminology of health conditions and how we categorize them can really embed deep into our psyche and affect us. And really, like, imagine how many geniuses have different conditions, neurodivergence, or are deaf or blind or whatever they have, and how many of their gifts have been suppressed because the general consensus of how we categorize these people and think about these people are less than the normal the I don't know, stereotypical normal able-bodied person, because because they don't fit into that category that we've made up in our mind. Imagine how many people we have um, dismissed, and what innovations and creative solutions and art and music that have gone unheard, unseen, because we brush these people under the carpet. Yeah, so at the festival, I met so many intelligent and capable, abled people, and I see that in people because I've tried so hard to be seen myself, and I've had to work extra hard for that. and for that recognition so that I don't get placed in a category where people feel sorry for me or sympathy and mark me off as like writing me off as a person just because of my health condition. So I guess other people would resonate with this as well, like having to be a certain way to I guess please other people. Well, not please other people, but break down the barriers that they have in their mind and prove them wrong in some way. I've probably proved enough, but I will still keep talking about it and bringing to light all these amazing people, these geniuses in the making. If we don't suppress them, if we allow them to be creative and thrive in environments in spaces that are fully held for them and empowered rather than disempowered, I believe that people can come together in equality, in inclusion, and yeah, the world will be a better place. So this image shows a black background with white text in bold and capital letters. It reads part 2 Q&A, so part 2 of the video. And this is a Q&A with Will, my partner, and I, who we both attended the event, and it's quite a fascinating conversation. I'd love to know your thoughts on any of what we have said or I have said in the reflections at the beginning and the first half of the video, and any thoughts, any questions, anything that comes up, please do comment below. Okay, so we have Will here behind the camera, behind the microphone and the camera, and we have some questions and some answers. So I think that he will ask me a question first.
Okay,
Question
yeah,
mark?
question mark. So, I guess my main question to you is, what do you think was present in the festival that would make your life easier if it was implemented everywhere?
I think just like the general notion of not judging and criticizing others would be very helpful. Like being able to walk around anywhere without being scared to use my cane or not use my cane or say I'm blind. Um, like just not being scared to ask for help and then have people question why and then accuse me of not being blind or whatever I have, whatever condition I have. I think that was very apparent in the festival that really, really worked. Like everyone was in an environment that was held and unjudged. It was unjudged, and I think everyone just felt seen because there were so many little adaptations for everyone. Like there was so many things implemented that included everyone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah. What about you? Like what's your observation on so you've been with me for a few years now and you're completely sighted yourself and you've stepped into an environment where you're volunteering and you're helping as much as you can and you're observing you're in this space that is full of people with like a lot of differences and yeah, how does that make you feel? And what was your experience like? How can you summarize that?
So I think that in general, it was one of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever got the chance to be a part of. I spent the entire time with goosebumps, nearly welling up every single time someone went
Mm.
up and performed and did the talent show. And I was really just taken aback. It seems like what you've identified is that there's a level of accommodation and empathy at
Mm.
this place that isn't present in the world. A lot of people wrapped up in their own little world, and to have so many people around us with such complex and diverse eye conditions, all that manifested in completely different ways, it was eye-opening. To basically talk to all of these people, older, younger, and understand that their complex needs were individual to each one of them. There was no blind person that would have had the same condition, and even if they did have the same condition, the same needs. So, I mean, to accommodate for all of those needs was truly an achievement. It was incredible. Another thing that I noticed about the individuals, so there was a lot of super capable, bright, achieved people. I mean, we had actors, we had like scientists, we had all of this
Mm.
incredible like achievements these people have made. But whereas I say sighted people, maybe the people in my own life that I've experienced, they
Mm.
achieve big things, and there's a lot of sort of ego that's attached to that, a lot
Mm.
of self-entitlement maybe. But there was this, if you don't mind me saying a story, there was this one kid. We were at the mud kitchen, and he was making mud pancakes, which just in itself was hilarious. But he told me that when he was 16, he was doing his GCSEs in science, and
Mm.
there was no what they called scales, no scales that would measure the small increments that you needed to be able to weigh up in chemistry, none that would audio describe what the number was. So he actually took the initiative to create a code that meant that he could plug in any of these scales and it would read it out. He made it open source and available for everyone. Now that is just one of the most incredible things I could even imagine. He came up with an idea that could have made him millions, and
Mhm.
instead he made it free for everyone.
Yeah.
And not just that, but he did all those things and was telling me all those things whilst making Swiss cheese out of a mud pancake.
Yeah.
And that is just so incredibly humbling.
It is,
You
yeah.
know, a lot of people would have taken that achievement and, you know, fueled this feeling inside themselves that they are better. But instead, he was able to really embrace his childlike joy. And that was just, yeah, that really moved me. I mean, he was a genius.
Yeah, and I was talking about this before you came on, and like imagine how many geniuses have been suppressed in history, and like just imagine,
Mm,
yeah, how many of them have been suppressed because they're different or in quotations not able to like in the eyes of the masses
mm,
because of the conditionings that are passed down. And yeah, how many like imagine how many stories and art and music and innovations have gone unseen and unheard of because these people have had to quieten themselves and hide and um, not be seen as much as possible because it's like almost unbearable to deal with the questioning and the um just being put in this category of not being abled. Like it's almost like those terminal those languaging can be passed down into like your unconscious mind and that person takes it on. Like it can take years and years and years to unlearn that wiring that has been um presented to them and imposed,
embedded.
embedded and projected onto them. Yeah.
So just to relate to what you're talking about then,
Mm.
a really incredible example is that Beethoven,
Mm.
probably the best composer of music ever, was deaf. So
Well,
to,
his best pieces came after he lost his hearing, right? And
exactly,
he would write those pieces by what was it? Like he would put a glass of water on the piano,
watch his
watch the
vibrations.
vibrations, and I don't know the mechanics of this, but like people find a way to make it work. don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah,
Like you can love music and lose your hearing and you can make it work.
exactly.
We've seen quite a lot of examples of that, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I think the thing I would take from that is that if you have greatness inside of you
Mm.
and real talent, ability, determination, the only thing that's going to get in the way of you doing that is other people telling you that you can't.
Mm.
And that really relates to, having a disability. It quite often is the outside world that disables you
Yeah,
through inaccessibility, through negative attitudes towards limited thinking. Those things are projected from the outside towards you.
they are.
And to be in a place where those expectations or thoughts weren't projected in a space that was safe, where all of
Mm.
these people could be exactly what they wanted to be and they didn't have to explain it too much.
And how fun and quirky were all of these people? Like we absolutely enjoyed, like loved our time there. Like we felt like kids ourselves at points.
100%.
Like,
It felt like we were in a TV show.
yeah, how many kids nowadays are even like that?
Yeah, well, another thing is,
Mm.
with a visual impairment, it means the sort of allure of screens and technology to take you out of reality from scrolling and stuff like that is a lot less. So maybe those people are a better representation of humanity without all these distractions, or at least visual distractions.
Maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you said about technology.
Yeah,
That's a real tie into what I'm gonna ask now. Um, like technology. So a lot of us VIPs,
Mhm.
VIPs, um, well, I don't know, I can't speak for myself, but I guess less susceptible to scrolling and being overconsumed by technology in a way. Or like we're more in tune because we have to be with our other senses. So we like touching and like feeling textures and hearing the world or seeing the world in a different way beyond our sight. And there's like parallel to this, there's also a problem that I wanted to address. So like an issue with the youth, not because of them, but because of the world around them, because of technology. Obviously technology, this is quite hard to ask because I use my devices to navigate the world, and so does all of my VIP friends.
Mhm.
Like we heavily what's the word? Rely on our technology. But when I ask questions to younger blind and neurodivergent people, they seem to answer in ways that are like when I ask the question, what's your hobbies, what's your interests? And they come up with all these wacky, quirky things that they're interested in. And then when I ask other children or teenagers, they just say, I like scrolling on TikTok, which I think is a problem. But I don't know what I know what I'm asking, but I think your answer will
Okay.
tie it together.
Let me summarize what you're asking. You're asking how disabilities and neurodivergencies affects the way that young people both see the world and their future, their ambition, and also how they spend their present.
Hmm.
Does that summarize what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I'll give you an anecdote. So, that kind of gives context to it.
Mm,
I have a really good friend, all right, and I looked at his phone and it was in black and white.
mm,
And I thought that was quite peculiar. He's neurodivergent like me,
mm,
and I asked him, I said, why have you put your phone in black and white? And he explained that the colors from your phone are there designed to almost be like an addiction to keep your attention. All of these bright colors, lights, all of this flashing at you. And he finds that putting his phone on black and white allows him to be less attached to it. Now, I guess what I'm trying to explain through that is that there is a huge amount of money and investment put into the way in which things visually affect us. The subliminal messages on buses with advertisement, all of the scrolling, it's all dependent on your eyes, at least in some way. Obviously, there's auditory stimulation as well. So when things don't have that allure to you, then you have to look beyond it. But if it can constantly hold your attention, why would you need to think of anything else that you want to do? So when young kids have been given an iPad when they're younger and it captures their attention, and anytime they get bored or think they want to do something else, they can just swipe and see a new thing of stimuli, that is almost imprisoning. Whereas someone that might have a different disability or a neurodivergency, this can affect them in a much more different way. I mean, as you say, you use your technology
Mm.
to make the world around you accessible. You
Yeah.
use it by using AI images that tell you what it is that you've taken a
Mm.
picture of, by looking up bus times
Mm.
and taking pictures of things, zooming in so you can see the detail in it. Your phone is used as a tool to interact with the world around you. Whereas I would say this is from my own experience rather than from, an observation of many, but a lot of people use their phone for the complete opposite, to
Mm.
disengage from the world. They use their phone when they're waiting, so they don't have to awkwardly stand and make eye contact with random strangers when they're at the bus stop or at the train
Yeah.
station. They use it as a bubble to protect them and insulate them against the world around them. Um, so although I can't give you a good explanation, and I think everyone's different, right? There are people out there
Mm.
like me that use my phone for PlantNet to identify plants and
Mm.
Merlin to listen to birds.
Yeah.
And, for you using your apps to make things accessible. But there are also people that will escape from reality through their phones.
Mm.
And that probably can affect someone that has a disability or doesn't have the disability in just as different ways. Um, but I do think it's an interesting observation. I definitely agree that from the sample set of people that we saw, there was a lot of people that were really making an impact in the world, that were really engaged in the world around them, that
Mm.
were advocating for their rights and their needs. And we had actors that had been on Doctor Who, and as I said, we had geniuses that had invented scales that talked
Mm.
to some. But
Mm.
I think it depends on the person, but I definitely do resonate with what you're saying that these people had dreams. But then
Mm.
again, maybe it was just the type of people that would take the brave step out to go to a festival in the middle of nowhere, even though they have a visual impairment.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
I feel like there's lots of topics to unpack in that.
There is, of
Yeah.
course, I have ADHD.
Yeah.
They come thick and fast.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a whole other thing, like loads of things to observe and ask about in there. But I think that was very interesting and insightful, especially about the black and white filter. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
tried it.
it
It
works.
it was great, but I just became bored of being on my phone, so I turned
See,
it back to color.
I've got color blindness, so I don't know, maybe I feel like I'm less susceptible to it, but I think we're all influenceable.
Yeah, we are.
Um, I think technology can serve us and it can do the complete
It can
opposite as
imprison
well. It
us.
can imprison us, and
Yeah.
we see that. That's very obvious and apparent in today's world. Um, but yeah, thank you for answering all these
That's
questions.
okay. Thank you for
You
having me.
basically summarized everything that I spoke about in the intro, so I'll just delete that 45 minutes of
You
recording.
don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Your voice is nice than mine.
No, no, that was really insightful because you didn't hear any of what I said.
No.
And you came in and you repeated back to me everything that I hope to teach sighted people,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you picked up on a lot of valuable, meaningful things that were really important that happened and were presented at the festival. So thank you.
Can I add just a little bit?
Mm. Yeah.
The thing that I found most beautiful about the experience
Mm.
is how much help I could offer people.
Mm.
There's a lot of situations where I get told to do things and I have to do this, that, and that. And it's for bosses and people that really aren't worth putting that time and energy into. But
Mm.
be surrounded by so many beautiful souls that in their normal life don't get that sort of help and assistance. It was a true honor to be a part of that.
It felt like a very meaningful cause to be of service for,
That's
right?
it, right? A good
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah, a cause that didn't exploit anyone, didn't take advantage. And this is seen in businesses and events and spaces in today's world quite a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, there wasn't discrimination, there wasn't any of that stuff that we don't like.
Mm.
And there was a space where we could all work together and I was saying before, like we were all holding space for each other as well. Like all the mentors were making sure all the mentors were okay as well. And it felt like we all became like a family within like a couple of days, which was really special. We've been to festivals before and it has not felt connecting like that.
No.
Festivals that say they are connecting, um, like as their brand. I was saying this like throwaway terms like connection, inclusion, accessibility, and they don't deliver, but this space did.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think putting a ramp in
Mm,
is enough to make something accessible,
yeah.
and I don't think that is. I think the most prominent thing I would say is that it was so incredibly humanizing.
Mm,
You know, these people weren't disabled people; they were human beings with dreams and talents and so much to them.
yeah.
And a lot of them from just looking at, you a lot of people might have unconscious biases that would repel them away from them, but I just met some of the most incredible people that I'd ever
Mm,
met, and
yeah,
they were
same.
human. Show the Labour government taking these disability benefits away. They were human beings that need that support.
Yeah,
And as you know, me, someone with sight, with privilege, in that way, every sense that I have is a privilege, and I've really understood that. It's my responsibility to offer that help.
yeah. Thank you for being my eyeballs.
That's okay. Stop objectifying me. I'm not just eyeballs.
Well, let's leave it on that. I think that was a really beautiful point that you said at the end there. It was humanizing.
Yeah,
We need more spaces and more people that make other people feel like they are human
yeah.
and not take their humanness away from them.
I wish they recorded the whole thing and made it into a TV show. There were definitely
Oh,
the characters there for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that would have been good. Okay, high five. Should you get your hand in here? Woo!
If I do it again.
Where is it? Okay, cool.